The film Alone that we produced is a small budget independent film that aims to explore horror conventions by both embracing familiar tropes and subverting them to introduce new ideas and plotlines within the horror genre. Rather than targeting a mainstream audience, we seek to establish a relationship with a niche audience that values creativity and challenges. This audience primarily consists of explorers and reformers who judge films based on their own values and ideals rather than being influenced by materialistic aspects. By casting an Asian lead and working with more BIPOC actors, our film challenges the industry norm of predominantly white protagonists. The horror genre often associated supernatural elements with Western religions and cultural traditions, making them expected themes. By introducing an Asian lead, we provide an alternative perspective on supernatural horror, broadening the cultural scope of the genre. This approach appeals to reformers who appreciate fresh, unconventional narratives that breaks away from stereotypes. Additionally, our protagonist defines the traditional horror trope of the passive, vulnerable victim. Instead of waiting to be rescued, she is an active participant in the mystery, exploring the supernatural forces around her with curiosity and determination. Reformers are particularly drawn to independent film because they recognize the struggles faced by small filmmakers against the large studios. As anti-materialistic individuals, reformers tend to support the disadvantaged in various situations, making them more likely to engage with them and support independent projects just like our film Alone. Their appreciation for originality and artistic integrity align with the challenges that independent filmmakers face in bringing the unique stories to life. For explorers, the uniqueness of our film lies in several key aspects. Firstly, executing a low-budget film successfully is a challenge, and explorers are drawn to such ambitious projects to see how they are accomplished. The experimental nature of independent filmmaking intrigues them, making them eager to experience something unconventional. Secondly, having a lower budget allows for fewer restrictions, which gives filmmakers more creative freedom to experiment with artistic choices. This creates the potential for something truly unique, something rarely seen in mainstream horror films. Since the explorer seeks innovation, they would naturally be interested in watching our film to experience a fresh take on the genre. Current and seating theory on media ownership suggests that media often provides depoliticized narrative through entertainment, orientating content that follows highly formulaic structures. However, our film values innovation and artist expression over materialistic motives, including commercial appeal. In terms of audience engagement, our target audience consists both reformers and explorers. Reformers value their own judgment, are anti-materialistic, socially aware, and tolerant, making them more likely to support independent film that challenges mainstream conventions. On the other hand, explorers are driven by a need of discovery and challenges, responding well to new brands that offer instant effect. By countering these audience types, our film seeks to break away from traditional formulas and appeal to viewers who appreciate creativity and originality. Theory and audience. Barth Enigma Code refers to a way a text poses question to the audience, creates mystery and a trigger that encourages them to seek answers. In Alone, we make use of the Enigma Code to incorporate mystery and horror elements that cause the audience to question the meaning of the film and messages they must decode. This technique entices and hooks the audience through strangeness of the narrative, such as the presence of the strange box and the appearance of the doll. As they attempt to uncover the answer of these mysteries, they are drawn deeper into the story and compelled to stay until the resolution. Some media products rely on Enigma code more than others, with crime dramas often reinforcing long-standing enigmas throughout their narratives. The audience is captivated by the suspense and the need to have mysteries explained, finding pleasure in trying to solve them and experiencing satisfaction when they reach a resolution, if one is provided. This aligns with the use in graphications theory, as the mystery serves as both a form of diversion and entertainment, which keeps the audience engaged. Levi Strauss's binary opposition. According to Strauss, all story needs conflict to produce meaning. Within the film alone, the main conflict rests between the protagonist, who symbolize innocence and purity, having childlike aspect associated with her, and the supernatural forces she encounters, which are mainly associated with darkness and evil. The conflict between these two forces is established from a very beginning and provides both entertainment and narrative suspense of the story. The audience, by nature, generally root for good and build an emotional rapport with the protagonist, making them more likely to anticipate her victory. As a result, any threat to the protagonist raises and stakes of the story and heightens the tension as the plot progresses. The audience is compelled to continue watching, see how the opposition is resolved. Todorov's narrative theory also plays a role in structuring the story, as it suggests that narratives follow a pattern of equilibrium, disruption, and resolution. The conflict between the protagonist and the supernatural forces creates a disruption in the equilibrium, and the resolution of this opposition ultimately restores a new balance, reinforcing the ideological messages embedded within the film. To appeal to the audience, we have studied and carefully employed Todorov's theory of equilibrium and disequilibrium, which plays a crucial role in shaping audience expectations. The initial equilibrium within the film is established through the mundane action of the protagonist returning home and opening the front door. This equilibrium is immediately shattered upon the discovery of the strange box with an even stranger note in it. The emotional attachment fostered by the audience towards the protagonist makes the disruption more suspenseful and thus more impactful, driving engagement as viewers anticipate the potential restoration of balance at the end of the film. Reception theory suggested that the interpretation of a film is subjective and depends on the audience's personal experience and worldview. And alone, the film leaves enough space for multiple interpretations, allowing viewers to perceive the supernatural elements as either true hauntings, phenomena that cannot be explained by the science, or as symbol of psychological suffering, such as trauma from childhood or other life experiences. The film both utilizes and subverts classical horror genre to engage the audience and shape their expectations. A key convention used in alone is the POV opening shot, inspired by Halloween, where a person moves towards the house. This technique helps ground the audience in time and space, providing an understanding of the setting and the type of horror they might encounter. However, Alone deviates from this convention by presenting the opening shot through the eyes of a young woman rather than a villain or an immediate supernatural occurrence. This choice establishes the film as something different from the conventional horror film found in mainstream media. By offering a fresh perspective of the unfolding horror through the protagonist, Alone creates opportunity for new interpretations and unique storytelling within the genre. By presenting horror from a child's perspective, our film offers a fresh take on the genre. This invites the audience to experience fear through a different lens, one that doesn't fully belong to the adult world. This perspective makes the horror feel more intimate and unpredictable. In The Conjuring, the use of red writing in the Find Me notes symbolizes danger and blood, reinforcing the horror genre convention themes of fear and threat. Alone imitates this concept by adopting red and the idea of the mystery note. However, it breaks away from traditional conventions by introducing an airy politeness to a message itself. Instead of an outright threatening or ominous comment, the note carries an unsettling courtesy, subverting audience expectation and adding a unique layer of psychological horror to the film. The way that the unseen force is introduced. Unlike traditional horror films, where supernatural entities often arrive with chaos, bloodshed, or violence, here there's an airy politeness to it. The moment where she says, "Let's have tea," adds an unsettling contrast.
Let's have tea?
Which, according to Levi Strauss, is a perfect binary opposition between innocence and danger. The contrast between innocence and dark supernatural elements play a crucial role in creating fear within the film. The protagonist, in alone representing purity and vulnerable, is set against airy and supernatural forces, heightening the tension and sense of dread. This stout opposition amplifies the horror, as the audience instinctively fears for the safety of the innocent figure when faced with an overwhelming and unknown evil. By emphasizing this contrast, the film intensifies the unsettling atmosphere, making the supernatural presence even more disturbing and fear-inducing. We avoided the use of natural light, which is not sharp, harsh, or capable of creating enough contrast for the overall mood in the horror film. Instead, we choose articulated lighting, playing with the light intensity and darkness over the specific scenes, especially during the appearance of supernatural entities. We sacrifice the possibility of creating a more realistic setting in order to achieve better effects of the horror atmosphere, immersing the audience so that the horror elements could be highlighted. In certain scenes, we choose to use brighter light, which takes away the effectiveness of the overall horror atmosphere, but by doing so, we highlight the fear on the protagonist's face. This enhances the audience's sympathy and emotional connection with the female lead, thereby building the tension. Barth's Enigma code contribute to this tension by encoding a message within the film. Since the protagonist's action code is not passive and she's constantly working to solve the mystery, the audience naturally roots for her. Dim lighting creates an uncomfortable atmosphere as it prevents the audience from seeing things clearly, allowing the imagination to take over. Within horror tropes, dim lighting is often associated with psychological horror, and overall we make use of the dim light to enhance the unsettling tone of the film. In Alone, the use of POV and reaction shot plays a crucial role in building suspense, particularly when the protagonist receives and opens the mystery box. These techniques heighten anticipation and create a dramatic reveal, increasing the tension as the audience awaits the arrival of the supernatural forces. Enigma code is applied here as we, the filmmakers, encode the message through a camera shot, ensuring the audience feel scared, entertained, and on edge as they anticipate what is to come. We have followed and applied Steve's new theory of genre, which states that genre are instances of repetition and difference. The association of terrible sounds plays a crucial role in shaping the audience's expectations and heightening their sense of fear. By incorporating unsettling and jarring sounds, the audience is immediately conditioned to associate them with impending horror, preparing them for the terrifying events that are about to unfold.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
This anticipation amplifies the overall scariness of the atmosphere, making every moment feel tense and unpredictable. Additionally, the use of cacophony strengthens the connection between sound and the supernatural elements within the film, reinforcing their power and horror. By doing so, we enhance the eerie and unsettling experiments, immersing the audience deeper into fear, inducing the world of alone. Todor's narrative theory suggests that story progress from an initial state of equilibrium to disruption, which is disequilibrium, before ultimately returning to a new equilibrium. In our film, equilibrium is disrupted through eerie and unsettling sounds, which replace harmonious or neutral tones with scary tension-filled audio. This sense of disequilibrium prepares the audience for an eventual re-establishment of balance. The use of eerie background music further reinforces this concept, keeping viewers on edge as they anticipate the resolution of supernatural conflict. Layered sound design plays a crucial role in enhancing realism and immersing the audience in the world of the film. We incorporate both diegetic sound, such as rustling of tissue paper when opening the box, or the clanking of keys in the beginning, and non-diegetic sound, which is the eerie music. This combination grounds the story in reality, making the supernatural elements feel more tangible and unsettling. By creating the illusion that the events are happening in real time and possibly even in a familiar setting, the audience becomes more emotionally connected to the narrative. This makes the supernatural force appear as a potential reality, heightening the fear factor. Furthermore, Barth's Enigma code is reinforced through the use of music, as the mystery surrounding the eerie soundscape keep viewers engaged and eager to uncover the truth behind the horror. Our film has the potential to tap into different fan bases, broadening its reach and appeal. The general horror film fanbase is the primary target audience, as we appeal to classic horror convention, establishing familiarity and rapport through elements such as suspense, eerie music, tension, lightning technique, and supernatural involvement. These well-known horror elements provide comfort to the audience by allowing them to settle into a genre they already enjoy while still experiencing new twists within the story. Additionally, our film is positioned to attract the A24 audience, a niche group that appreciates independent film known for their thought-provoking narratives, innovative storytelling techniques, and artistic cinematography. This audience values creativity and originality, making them more likely to engage with a film that challenges traditional horror conventions while still delivering an immersive experience. Furthermore, they are interested in supporting independent studio productions, which aligns with the nature of our film as a small budget, creative endeavor. For distribution and marketing, we plan to utilize A24's digital platforms and collaboration with indie film fans and prominent film YouTubers, particularly those who specialize in film reviews. These promotional techniques allow us to reach an audience that appreciates authenticity, creativity, and originality. By leveraging influential film reviewers, we can generate organic discussions and engagement, which will further elevate the film's presence in niche horror communities. This market approach is particularly effective for our film, as it ensures that we connect with the audience who are generally interested in innovative storytelling and independent filmmaking. Strauss Hall's representation theory highlights the importance of authentic and accurate portrayals in media. Our female protagonist is a POC and a young individual, which is a significant step in breaking away from conventional depiction of horror film leads. Unlike mainstream horror films that often features white female protagonists, typically portrayed by older actors or from an older perspective, our film offers an authentic representation because our production team itself consists of young Asian creatives. This ensured that the characters' experience, personality, and struggles are depicted with depth and realism, providing a fresh and genuine perspective that challenges the traditional horror film norms. Target audience: age 16 to 25 years old. The protagonist within the film is a young woman of a similar age, and thus by association, the audience of the similar age will develop a natural connection and interest. Moreover, young people around that age tend to enjoy creative and innovative ideas within the storylines and can appreciate the filming techniques as well as the authenticity and character choice within the film. Moreover, the platform to be used for digital streaming are Netflix and Shudder, which adhere more to fans of that specific age group. Alongside the young crowd, Alone also adheres to the taste and preference of independent film watchers. Moreover, my use of nostalgic 1990s horror aesthetic, the classic tropes, and the structured narrative ensured that audiences from that era or their love from the cinematic choices of that specific era are attached and invested within the experiments the film Alone has to offer. This could arise in opportunities for independent cinemas to cater to niche screenings for fans and cinema lovers who lean more into the 90s horror trend and culture. Personal identity and social interaction. The premise of Alone provides a space to create an Asian main character who happens to be a woman and could exit without any typical stereotypes associated, including the sexualization being extreme smart within the general Western films. Thus, the protagonist sets out to challenge and the overall representation of Asian character within horror tropes, making room for Asian characters' existence, which resonates both with audience of BIPOC origin as well as any film watchers whom at any point experience re-representation, misunderstandings, and prejudice. Thus, the film offers the opportunity for its audience to engage on personal level and identify to see themselves within the character. The establishment of emotional resonance with the audience follows the use and gratification theory, in which the audience sees struggles of the main lead experience for themselves the fear, confusion, and helplessness, and active seek out to engage with the experiments to meet their need. Hence, Alone invites viewers on a journey who gratify their needs to be seen and represented, whilst taking them through a pleasurable experience of senses, the tingling horror, anticipation, and the desire for answer and ultimate resolution. The 1995 setting further enhanced the overall experience through the lens of nostalgia. Other than providing an opportunity for audience to engage with the film on a personal level, Alone also provides a platform for social interactions, as the theme intentional narrative style creates room for discussion and multiple interpretation. Audience could gather and share thoughts about the supernatural element at play and how they affect the overall interpretation of the film, as well as the choices made towards lighting, techniques, and diverse casting by including an Asian woman as a main lead, as well as how these factors interconnect to each other. This could feed into broader social commentary over the representation of minorities. The idea of social influence and psychological horror invoked by petitional trauma. The A24 production aligned with such commentary and social interaction through its unique nature of being an independent film production, which embraces the artistic vision and ideas for the creators without interference towards their choice and subject matter. Because of that, audience can dive deeper into the film and explore the storytelling elements, themes, as well as to decode the message from the filmmakers intend to deliver through the audience, through the characters' portrayal. Audience is free to judge for themselves whether the eerie elements of the mystery box and doll originate from the supernatural forces or from psychological trauma, thus enriching the film watching experience and making the horror trope more meaningful. Steve Neal's genre theory suggested that genres are created through a balance of repetition and variation. In Alone, we incorporate established horror conventions to create a recognizable and engaging experience for the audience. Repetitive genre elements such as supernatural events, eerie atmosphere, and the use of haunted doll ground the film within the horror tradition, ensuring familiarity. These aspects provide audiences with the expected thrills and chills associated with the genre, reinforcing their engagement through recognizable tropes. However, Alone also introduces key variations that challenge traditional horror film structures. The protagonist is an Asian female lead, which breaks away from the conventional white-dominated horror casts. This shift not only adds cultural depth, but also diversifies perspectives within the genre. Additionally, the narrative is told from a female perspective that moves away from the typical interpretation often seen in the horror films. Unlike many female lead in horror who are either objective or relegated to passive roles, our protagonist is fully developed, independent, and capable of making her own decision. This deviation from the male gaze reflects broader social and cultural shift in media representations. In the patriarchal societies and traditional horror films, female characters often rely on men for rescue, reinforcing outdated gender roles. In contrast, Alone represents a female lead who actively engages with the supernatural forces and takes charge of her own survival. This results in a more rounded and empowered representation of women in horror. Furthermore, by positioning Asian lead at the center of the narrative, the film challenges the industry norm in which Asian characters are often sidelines as secondary figures rather than the protagonists. According to Neal's theory, while audiences are drawn to familiar horror tropes, they also carve unexpected twists and innovative storytelling to keep the narrative fresh. Alone achieved this through a double narrative that allows the multiple interpretations. The audience is given the space to determine whether the horror elements stem from psychological trauma, especially a fear from abandonment and isolation, or whether they originate from genuine supernatural occurrence. This dual perspective adds depth into film, engaging viewers by encouraging them to analyze and question the events unfolding before them. The combination of conventional horror elements and fresh storytelling choices ensure that Alone remains both entertaining and thought-provoking. It not only provides the expected scares but also offers audiences an opportunity to explore deeper meanings and alternative interpretations, making for a more enriching horror experience. Beyond entertainment, Alone serves as an educational tool, providing audiences with insight into horror tropes and cinematic techniques from the 1990s. Through its stylistic choices such as lighting, camera angles, and the mise en scène, the film plays homage to distinct aesthetics of 1990s horror cinema. This period saw a shift in horror narratives, with film experimenting with self-awareness, meta-commentary, and psychological themes. Movies like Scream introduced postmodern elements by deconstructing traditional horror conventions, while others delved into psychological horror, exploring themes of fear, identity, and trauma. Alone reflects these stylistic and thematic influences, offering audience a glimpse into the evolution of horror storytelling. Postmodernism plays a significant role in Alone, as it aligns the movement's emphasis on perspective and reinterpretation of classic narratives. Postmodern horror often retells stories from alternative viewpoints, sometimes even from the villain's perspective, offering multiple interpretations of the same event. Alone embraces this approach by allowing different reading of its story. Some may view it as a tale of supernatural horror, while others may interpret it as a psychological exploration of the protagonist's fear and past traumas. This ambiguity fosters audience engagement as viewers must piece together their own understanding of the narrative. The film's structure and themes make it a strong example of postmodern horror, as it challenges traditional storytelling and provides space for multiple viewpoints, reinforcing the idea that meaning is subjective and open to interpretation. Alone provides a strong sense of diversion and entertainment by creating suspense that grips the audience and delivers an immersive horror experience. The film carefully builds tension over time, allowing for a slow yet deliberate escalation of fear. This gradual suspense heightens the audience anticipation, keeping them engaged as they await the next settling moment. The horror experience is further intensified by the unpredictable of supernatural elements, which contribute to the eerie atmosphere and make the film a thrilling watch. The slow building suspense also triggers an adrenaline rush, a key element of horror films that keeps viewer on edge. As the tension rises, the audience is pulled deeper into the unsettling world of Alone, experiencing fear and excitement simultaneously. The presence of supernatural forces transports viewers into an alternate reality, where the ordinary rules of the world are disrupted, allowing for a complete escape from the mundane. The supernatural elements not only create intrigue, but also enhance the mystery, making the audience question what is real and what is beyond human understanding. Emotional engagement is another crucial aspect of the film's entertainment value. The protagonist's journey and struggles invoke sympathy and attachment from the audience, making them more invested in the unfolding story. This emotional connection adds depth to the horror experience, as viewers are not just watching scares unfold, but are also deeply involved in the character's fate. Visually, Alone is designed to be both haunted and aesthetically captivating. The careful use of the color, mise en scène, and attention to detail contribute to the overall cinematic experience. Every frame is crafted with precision, ensuring that the film is visually engaging while maintaining its era and unsettling tone. These artistic choices enhance the horror elements while also making the film an aesthetically compelling piece of work. The idea of escapism is deeply embedded within Alone, allowing audiences to step away from the harsh realities of everyday life in a world where things move fast and real life horror exists. The film offers an alternative space where fear is controlled and experienced in a structured narrative. The slow pacing and atmospheric horror provide a contrast to the chaotic natural of reality, making Alone an effective escape into the carefully crafted world of suspense, mystery, and supernatural terror.